Yay, Davrin's in the house.
I don't see anybody's face.
You don't have to. That's the beauty of it. Nobody wants to see, this late in the evening for you and this early in the morning, nobody wants to see my fucking face.
Oh, you don't want to see my double chin.
In that case, you don't want to see my quadruple chin. All right, we could do this all fucking night.
Oh, this is pretty cool. I can switch the lights off now.
Is that what took you so long? You're getting your hair done?
No, I've got a hair. I've actually got my hair. All my friends don't have hair, so don't.
Bit of makeup and shit.
Yeah, don't forget the goth eyeliner and all that crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was painting my nails.
All right.
Alrighty then. Should we start then? Let's just start with that then. Davrin's painted his nails.
Painted his nails.
Because he thought it was a video call.
Yeah.
This is fun.
Alrighty, let's get into it then. So how's everybody doing?
Good. I actually watched some old rugby, South African rugby videos a couple of hours ago. It's quite funny.
Was that the 2005 test?
Yeah. No, I watched some stuff from when we were kids. With the 1981 Springboks. It was bloody funny. And I recognized all those names. So it's so weird,
Yeah, but recognizing all those old names is just showing your age, eh?
Yes, I know. Well, it just shows you I was paying attention when I was 9.
Grant,
Don't ask me to remember people's names now.
I don't remember anything from when I was 9.
God, that just shows you've lived.
Yeah. Well, no.
Well, we know
bad memory.
I was going to say, we know where Grant lived, so of course, yeah.
So, guys, welcome to the very first chat thing. I don't know what the hell to call it. What would you call this? Podcast? It's not a podcast.
It's a lone wolf meeting.
Chat thing. Okay, that's the latest thing. Fuck podcasts. It's a chat thing.
So we've got to record a wolf whistle, Grant, and then send it to Trevor and charge him a fuckload of money.
So. Talking about your subscription.
Yeah.
I forgot to put that 1 in front of the other numbers.
Okay, that's good.
The zeros on the end.
Yeah, the zeros on the end and the 1 is in the middle.
Yeah.
When you've got no money, it doesn't make any difference anyway.
Exactly. So tell me, how did this all come about? This Ghosts of Eden. That's the. Okay, firstly, is it an EP, album, full album? What is it?
You want to answer that, Grant?
I don't know. I don't think you could call it an album. So I suppose an EP would be the correct thing to call it.
Yeah.
What does EP stand for?
It's a good question.
I'm going to leave that up to you guys because you're the musicians, not me.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, he's going to type it in. I knew it. I knew it. There's like shortcuts and everything these days.
How do you think people do their jobs nowadays?
I'll
get back to you. I'll get back to you.
Hello, Google.
You just ask Siri.
Yeah, electronic press or something like that.
No, extended play.
Extended. Why would it be extended when it's only up to 6 tracks?
No, because it's a compilation of songs of an album, but not really an album. More like a pre-album.
That is the stupidest fucking name for something that is short.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Extended play. What a load of shit.
Let's call it our short album then.
Our short album, yeah. Well, it's a pre-album.
So we're going to do a chat thing about a pre-album that's short.
Yes,
Okay.
but the chat can be long.
This is like a Monty Python skit, I'm telling you. Somebody's going to listen to this and go, I've got a great idea for a comedy program or something. So for people that will tune into the YouTube channel and listen to this, I just got to tell people that this is a free discussion. It's not necessarily only about music, it's about anything. And you can swear and do whatever and say whatever, have a beer in between and a cup of coffee, tea, whatever you like, and smoke your joint, whatever you want to do. So,
Like Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Well, chase the magic dragon if you want to, or whatever. Okay, so Ghosts of Eden. So now I've known Davrin. I've known you my whole life. Okay, Grant, I've known you for a short amount of time, many years ago. We touched on that earlier when you're trying to figure out this Zoom stuff. But
Yeah.
Ghosts of Eden, okay, and C3, how did that all come about?
Aha.
Because I'd imagine this is going to be a long one.
Well, Davrin, do you remember where it started? You remember it started with a band called Anastasia?
Yes, and in fact, the name Anastasia, which is that Russian mistress murder thing, isn't it?
Yes,
And
I think so, yeah.
didn't your best mate, and what was his name? He was a Trevor, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Trevor Meehan, yeah.
Trevor Meehan. Didn't he come up with that name? Because that was...
It was either him or me. I cannot remember. It's not...
so that...
Don't know.
Yeah. That name was actually painted on the board in that beer in Musenberg we used to go and jam. And I think it's still there today. So I drove past there in January. And I thought, I'd better stop here, but it was too dodgy, Musenberg's not exactly the coolest place to want to stop. You're right. So Anastasia was the band that I joined. Is that how I met you, Grant?
Yes, that is how you met me. It was myself on bass. Chris, I've got Chris P on drums. It was Chris. I think it was a friend of yours, actually, someone you knew.
Chris was a guy that went to school with my brother.
Ah, okay.
That's how. And my brother and him were at university at the time. Chris was he's a weird guy. Remember, he was a drummer that couldn't hold a time, so it was quite funny.
Yes. Yes.
The drummer that couldn't hold time, and you're in a band called Anastasia.
And I remember actually, as we used to practice everything 30 million times, I remember one time we were practicing a song and his friends came in midway through and he just stopped and got off his kit and walked off. Do you remember that? And I remember you, me, and Trevor looking at each other going, what the heck has just happened?
Yeah.
We played a song and his friends arrived and he just stopped.
Yeah. And then but before you joined, there was a guy named Bruce. I don't know who the hell was on guitar.
No, I don't remember Bruce, but I remember jamming with Trevor and you and Chris. But that didn't actually last that long with Chris.
Because we actually had. It was actually there's a third incarnation of Anastasia, which was Dave on vocals, me on bass, you on guitar, and Chris on drums.
Oh, you're right. Dave actually did join us at that point.
Right, because Trevor was working at the bank with Dave. And when Trevor left, he suggested us using Dave.
There's always a banker.
Yeah.
Dave was a bit of a banker, yeah.
Steady. We don't want any legal ramifications there. Defamation of character and whatever else.
Interesting guy. I think he had about 7 sisters or something, didn't he?
Oh, that sounds like a whole different chat show.
No,
his family like madness.
Yeah, that's right.
There's always a banker above a banker.
Yes. Well, Trevor was a good guitarist, and he only left because he was getting married, and his future boss basically said, "No more playing with the boys."
Wow.
At least I think that we can't be too sure. But,
yeah. We were playing Gary Moore songs with him. He was good.
Yeah, he was right.
Okay, so how did the band evolve from there then?
Well, then there was a band which was probably fairly short-lived called Frantic.
That's right.
Was
Dave on vocals, me on bass, Davrin on guitar, and Colin on drums. Remember Colin?
Yes, sweet Colin.
Sweet Colin.
He was okay, and then he left because he didn't like me.
So he wasn't so sweet.
That
probably had his head screwed on.
That might be a recurring theme in the...
If there was ever a burn, that was it.
Yeah, I know.
Wow, this is going to go south real quick.
The ever pursuit of musical ideology.
Yes.
And,
It
there
just
will
doesn't
always be
exist, does it?
differences. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
funny. Yes, I remember Colin, and then we played at a wedding.
We played it.
Colin.
No, it was his 21st. We played it.
Was it his 21st?
Yes,
Oh, that's right.
and it was. I actually heard that because it was filmed.
Cool.
By my friend Dino, and I'm glad he doesn't have that anymore because I actually heard that like a while after we had done it. I actually watched and heard it. It was
Horrendous.
It was terrible.
It's amazing when you're
I'm
in the
almost-
moment, it sounds like you're
No,
the
exactly.
best fucking
We
band
must-
in the world.
Yeah, we must have forgotten to tune our guitars or something because it sounded terrible.
No, you were ahead of your time. You're just, different tunings.
Different tunings.
Yeah. With different wavelengths. Yeah.
Yeah.
We probably didn't bother tuning our guitars in those days.
Yeah, no, it wasn't important.
The gear wasn't as good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right. So we had Frantic, and then Trevor, you joined a band.
He joined a band called Warmouth.
Warmouth.
Fuck's sakes, yeah. Warmouth. They were anything but.
And
Yeah, I remember.
then
Yeah.
so then you switched to drums then at that point.
That's it, yeah. Well, Colin, we had to teach how to play drums, remember?
That's true. That's why I wasn't that sad when he left.
Yeah.
Oh, but you know what? So this was after. Remember John? Sorry, I'm jumping around here.
No, go for it.
Oh, no, that's coming up, don't worry.
Yeah. Another one that didn't like me.
It's another one that didn't like. Yeah, well,
No, that was
yeah.
actually.
yeah, I actually think, yeah, but we can talk about that. But
Go ahead.
there was Warmouth. I don't know how long that lasted. Though.
No, that was a blip. There, you can just get over that.
But we actually played for in front of Lithium. On
Yeah,
that,
we did.
that
We a
band.
couple
Yes,
of
that's
times.
right.
Yeah.
There's one of my pedantic notes here saying did 3 gigs at the Somerset Tavern with the likes of Lithium and Shoshan.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
And wasn't Iron Maiden in town when we played with Lithium?
Ooh, that would have been
Yes,
90.
They were.
That would have been 95.
Yeah, 95. Yeah, spot on.
95, yeah.
Oh,
is
that's
right.
good. That's definitely going back some. Jeez.
Yes.
Okay, let's move away from the Warmouth part and carry on. I just want to ask you guys, who was the singer? Because he was like a scraggy,
Dave.
blonde-haired nut job.
That's Dave.
Is that Dave?
Yeah.
Dave was a good guy, but he was.
Dave's a good guy. Yeah,
he was
just
a bit-
weird.
he was-
Yeah, I mean, nut job's maybe a bit strong term, but yeah, he was kind of scary.
Was he scary?
Yeah, border on psychopathic. I don't know. I mean, what's more scary than being psychopathic? No,
Well,
he
he
was
was a bit
yeah,
intense.
Yeah, he was tense. Yeah, his character was quite tense. Yeah.
But intense. But then we found out why. Was it a few years later, Grant, when we caught up with him?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so we might as well tell Trevor the story because
Yeah,
it's quite
go-
funny, actually.
Yeah, go for it.
So we went. I don't know why we were catching up with him, Grant, but we did anyway, and we were preloading as we used to do in those days, even though we didn't have a term for it. And I remember arriving at his place, said hi, and then went straight into his toilet to use the old the throne. And I remember closing the door, and there was this massive picture of Brad Pitt on the back of the door, and I was thinking, what kind of fucking guy has got a picture of Brad Pitt?
Oh.
You know, and he's fucking. This is like weird. So I remember we were drunk by the time we got to his house, and I was thinking I was teasing him for about 25 minutes or something about why the fuck have you got a picture of Brad Pitt on your fucking on the back of your door, you know? And then he came out and told us that he was gay.
Motherfucker.
And that his sex life couldn't have been better since, and he seemed a lot happier.
Oh,
by the
good
way.
for him. Awesome.
Yeah.
So it was quite funny, actually, but it was a funny moment. I think I will never forget that. Yeah, so that's why he was probably a bit intense.
that explains a hell of a lot. Shame. Yeah. So I get it.
Yeah, that was funny.
Of course, coming from a fairly religious family as well, it's obviously not.
It's very
Well,
tough.
actually, very,
Yeah.
very religious, yeah. So,
Yeah.
but he was a good guy.
I don't know if he was a great singer, though, but he definitely tried.
Well, he had
When-
he had a lot of angst, didn't he? I mean, whenever
Yeah.
he sang, he was like really probably just trying to get so much frustration out. And now we know why, obviously.
Yeah, I think he was probably our best vocalist. I mean, up until then, because Trevor was fine, but Trevor didn't have the sort of rock voice. You know what I'm saying? That sort of.
Yeah.
And I think Dave had more of that sort of aggression.
He
in
was
his voice.
okay. Yeah. Wonder what he's doing now.
The power of social media. Go find out. Look him up.
When I was still in Cape Town, I passed him one day in the shops, and at first he just ignored me. He walked right past me, and I actually stopped and sort of said, "Hey." He sort of turned around and came back to me, and then he sort of chatted to me.
Oh, okay.
But remember, remember Davrin. He said if he ever leaves the band, he'll never see us again. Remember, he said that to us.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
funny guy.
he said to me at that point, he said, but I told you if I'll never have any contact with you again. I'm like, it's just weird.
Wow, that is like.
No, it's just probably number 2 that didn't like me.
When he said band, he actually meant Davrin. Okay, I'm spotting the trend.
I don't,
No, we got on quite okay.
no,
I think I used to tease him a bit, but I used to tease everybody in those days.
Well, that's what we did. I mean, we all took the piss out of each other. That's how you build up camaraderie and
I
brothers.
think that's fairly normal. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's get
Yeah,
over this
so
Warmouth part and then carry on.
So that was Moormouth, and then
And then Dave left, and Trevor left, and it all fell apart.
it was just you and me again.
That's right. And then we got a vocalist called Liam.
That was a cool band, actually. We started getting somewhere. Liam
And Wayne on bass.
Wayne was a sparky, pretty esoteric guy, and actually, when I think about it, quite musical. Because remember, he'd come up with these pretty cool bass riffs.
Yeah. No, he was actually pretty good.
Yeah, great ear. Yeah, so that was quite good as well. Until Liam left to go to Joburg or something for a job.
Yes. Yeah, but in between that, we actually got another bass player called Ryan.
So Grant, at this point, you're on the drums.
I'm on the drums. Yeah.
Right.
So it's,
Okay, because you switched from bass to drums when I came in with Warmouth.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
I'm on drums, Davrin on guitar, Liam on vocals. Liam played guitar as well.
Right.
Yeah, Liam was good.
Yeah.
Um,
And you might remember that when Liam left, Ryan tried to get us to try out his girlfriend on vocals.
yes, I do remember that.
Bad
That
news.
was funny. It wasn't common in those days for rock chicks to be on. Well, not in South Africa anyway. I mean,
No.
it wasn't the likes of Effervescence type bands.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that we did jam. Was that when we plastered all the walls in your
Yes.
in our session room with that polystyrene, which is not soundproof, by the way, as I think we.
As your
I think
neighbors. Yeah.
the neighbors can attest to that.
Yes,
But we
yes.
thought it looked cool, and we tried. At least we did try.
So I don't know that band didn't have a name here. I've got it written down as Chill.
Oh, really? You
but-
mean with Liam?
Yes, with Liam. We never did any gigs. Just before we were supposed to do our first gig, he decided that he was going to bugger off.
That's right. He buggered off just before. Broke all our hearts. I remember we used to record in that, or jam at that Pardon Island medical space where he used to work, remember? And I do remember the day we left. It was quite a weird thing.
Yeah.
Didn't Liam, he wrote that pretty cool song, and then I kept teasing him because it sounded a truckload similar to Pearl Jam's
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
But that was quite a cool song.
But touching on that though, isn't it difficult to keep coming up with riffs that it doesn't sound like something else? How do you keep reinventing, the wheel?
Yeah. It is. I think it is anyway.
You're right, it is.
I often play. Well, okay, I don't have instruments now, but whenever I do pick up something and sort of you play stuff, you often think that sounds like something.
If you think about the 50s, 60s, and 70s, they had just before blues. That was it. That's all they could sort of base their sound on, and then some geniuses go and discover fucking Led Zeppelin and whatever else, Blue Cheer, and next minute they blast in heavy metal and Black Sabbath comes along, and then after that, how do you come up with something different? It must be so difficult as a musician to keep coming up with something fresh and new all the time.
I don't know. I listen to a lot of weird shit on Spotify, actually. I like a lot of jazz nowadays. And I even found an awesome guitarist about 3 days ago. And so there's new shit all the time, actually.
Right.
Mark Lettieri, stunning music. So I don't know, Trev. I think there's so much talent out there that new stuff happens all the time. It's a weird. That's the cool thing about music. It's always moving and changing, and it's weird.
I think for me, when I listen to music, I always at a fault try and relate it to something else that's gone before, and that's bad. I should listen with open ears, and that's what I'm trying to do more and more often. I discovered this guy called Brian Kroll out of New York, and his music is just phenomenally brilliant to me. It's great. You should give it a listen. Brian Kroll. He's on Spotify and he's on iTunes and wherever else. But his music is so different to what I've heard and all the stories that he tells me. And he'll be coming up in one of the chats that I'll be doing with him. But anyway, I'm digressing now. So, right, let's get back to the band thing.
So Liam left, and then we had, did you say his name was Dean, did you say?
Ryan.
And then after that happened, because that didn't last very long, I think maybe after we didn't take his female singer, girlfriend, I think he left, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. So that whole band, lasted about 6 months. So it was 6 months of work that actually went nowhere, really, which was very irritating.
So you're right. That was I remember feeling quite dejected when Liam went, because we were pretty close to having a gig.
Yes.
And then did we get John? Remember Johnny with his wife that was 40 and he was 20, or she was 46 and he was 20 or something.
Yes.
And in those days we used to place ads in the newspaper. Remember that, Grant?
Yes, and that's I think how we got John. Do you remember when we were looking for bass players? There was a guy who came with a gun. Do you remember that? He had a gun on him when he came. He was a bass player, I think.
Did that freak you out?
Yeah.
It is a bit odd. But wasn't he a taxi driver or something? Or he was
just about to say he was a taxi driver or something like that. Yeah. So fair enough, but he was a bit of an older guy too.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he was way older than what we were. Yeah, so we pissed around for a while, trying to get more people.
Yeah.
And then it seemed to, I don't know how it happened, but we seemed to find Dominic and Greg, and you went back to bass.
I did, yes, but let's not just skip over John.
Oh, sorry, I forgot about John. John actually, we wrote some. He was very talented, very musical, but what a strange guy. Yeah.
But again, in my weird obsession with writing notes about the stuff we did, just something about really talented as a vocalist. But after working with the guy for about 3 months, we had completed one song, which was Space and Time.
And that's exactly what it was. Space and Time.
Well, I do remember those cold nights jamming with him, and we had like maybe 6 songs, Grant, is that about right, that we could play?
Yeah,
we had
Space and Time and about 7 others that never got completed.
Yeah, because he just...
because he said... Because it says here, he was never happy with... He always wanted to change things.
I do remember... He did always change things. I do remember at one point during... Might have been the Space and Time song, that he asked me to stop playing. I think I lost my shit at that point. Because it was like... I think I'd said something like... Oh, so you will just have vocals in this part and no other music or something. Whereas we got to I was at that frustration level where we played something and then he changed it again, and then it got less and less and more vocal and less music and then less music and more vocal to the point where
that might have been the point where I seem to recall it being a Saturday afternoon or something.
Yes,
it was. You just lost your cool and went, okay, we're done.
Yeah, I remember.
We're done
I
here.
remember.
And we basically packed everything back into the Uno, and I think we must have dropped him off at his house
Yes,
because
we were
packed,
quite kind.
Yes, we packed the whole band, all the band stuff into the car with him sitting between all the stuff. Dropped him off at the house and never saw the oak again. Didn't he want his wife to manage the band or something? Wasn't there?
That's right. I do remember having a band. We were called to the band meeting at their strange flat in Observatory. It was in Obs, wasn't it?
I think so.
Or Mowbray or something like that. And I remember she sitting us down, and then they were going to change the band name to Mary. You remember that?
Worst name ever.
And you and I were like looking at each other, thinking, "What the hell is happening here?" We invite you to us. And I remember thinking that.
Oh, jeez.
Remember this: that I had the car, you had the drums and the bass and the PA.
That's right.
And then I had my amps and my guitars.
Yeah.
And so we basically invited him in. Yeah. We would provide all the gear, all the transport, everything. And he was trying to tell us what to do. I do remember having this conversation driving home thinking, no, we're not going to call ourselves Mary and Johnny. Pissed off because, we were supplying everything and we were... He was just a little bit younger than us. It wasn't much younger than us.
I think he was, but he wasn't too much younger. I mean, he was a good vocalist, but he just...
It was the Mary part that done him in.
No, you know what it was? He needed to be managed his life was out of control, I think. And he needed to be managed by somebody else to tell him what to do, right?
Right.
Maybe, yeah.
And I think that was his problem, is that he obviously, because he came from a broken family or something, I remember, hard luck story. Which is quite sad because he's very, very super talented. Remember when we were in that pub and he just started singing?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
And it was odd. It was an oddball thing to do because when you meet somebody, you sit down, you have some beers, and you kind of eyeball each other and talk and see if there's any common ground. And I remember him asking us to be quiet, and he just started singing. And I thought to myself, okay, a stunning singer. This is the best singer we've ever come across, right? Yeah. So we'll give you a crack.
But out there.
But, that's not a bad thing, having musicians that are out there, right?
Not.
But
in a controlled manner, perhaps, yes.
Yeah, but I think he was, personality-wise, he needed somebody to hold his hand and tell him what to do, and that's why he had that bird and he wanted a manager and that whole process. And to be honest, when I think about all the other musos, the real ones I've met, it's been managers that have made those guys. Look at Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
What a fucking freak. If Sharon didn't bloody tell him where to go and what to do, we wouldn't have Ozzy Osbourne today, right?
No,
so
that's exactly it, yep.
So I'm not knocking John. He was just, we weren't smart enough. And I don't think there was much of an industry that we were exposed to it or where to go and get.
It's hard enough to be a musician. It's fucking hard to be a musician in South Africa in the 90s.
Yeah, there wasn't. I mean, obviously there were other bands like Rabbit and all that kind of stuff. There was an industry, but it wasn't as accessible as it is. Well, in other countries anyway.
Yeah.
Today, the funny thing I think is that there's so much. Everything is so available. I mean, look at us talking across the world now.
Yeah.
And there's so much. Like we just go into Spotify and find new bands every 33 seconds.
Yep.
The noise out there with so much stuff, it must be way harder to get recognized now. If someone had come along and found us, me and you, Grant, and even Trevor at that point, and said, I'll be your manager and I'll take you to gigs and I'll organize this and you just play the music, you could have made something of it. I mean, Trevor, your brother, Paul and Dave and them, they did it.
Yeah. I think they're just very, very lucky.
Well, I think Paris has a little bit to do with that, in the sense that he provided that role, but didn't he turn out to be a bit of a strange dude in the end? No,
it's without getting into it too much here on this one, because I'd like to do a chat with Paris at some point. But yeah, it's digressing a bit again, but it went a bit south when they broke off the contract with EMI, and they wanted to go, basically solo and do it themselves, independent.
Independent.
Yeah, and money was pumped into studios, and I got dribs and drabs because I was overseas at the time, and I got dribs and drabs of stories from this person and that person, and then it was just a fucking nightmare. And he said, she said, bollocks.
Well, I think Paris is a little bit of our story because that's who we recorded with, right, Grant?
Right. Paris Studios.
So we did intersect with him, and he did a good thing for us, and he was quite encouraging and quite interesting. I mean, that's all at the end of the end of the beginning of the C3, Stargate was joined with Paris. So So then we found Dom, didn't we? And he was another strange cat.
Yes, we got together with Greg first. I think Dom came after that, or was it the other way around? Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently, that's what I've got here.
That's quite interesting, Grant, that you wrote these things down because it never occurred to me once, not even once, to do that.
I'm a pedantic asshole.
No, I wouldn't say that. I think if you hadn't, I mean, you're a great lyricist anyway, so it makes sense that you were writing stuff down.
Grant, you do know
I'd love
that.
to see what you've written down about me, actually.
Grant, you do know that there's such thing called word processing and Facebook where you can put milestones on your page and all sorts of things.
Grant's not a big mess. Grant's been trying to hide away from the world since he was born. So
that's it. That's exactly it.
I know you. Yeah.
So you talk about me writing things about you, but there's nothing bad, but there is a funny.
Is there?
Because I also wrote, after our gigs, I wrote stuff down about how the gig went, etc.
Oh, okay. This will be revealing.
There was a gig we did on Wednesday, the 28th of August, 1996. This is with, I think we were either called Playground or Upside at the time. I'm not sure.
I think Upside comes to mind. Is that with Dominic?
Purple Turtle, somewhere in town, I think.
Oh, the Purple Turtle. Yes, I remember that gig. That was okay, actually.
So I've got your no reaction, not many people there. Mistakes in songs. Greg drops his drumstick at the first song and loses concentration for the rest of the gig.
Oh, bless him, Greg.
And you notice these things?
I've written dropped, but I don't think he dropped it. I think that stick came flying past me.
Yeah, that's Greg. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
He was probably aiming for Davrin.
Probably was. Yeah.
Apparently Dom has the flu and his voice is stuffed.
Yes, I remember that.
I've got you, and this is where I've got you that I make mistakes all over the place. And Davrin was, just Davrin.
What is that supposed to mean?
Yeah, you're just ordinary.
That's what I thought when I read it just now. Well, last night I was looking at this. I thought, what exactly did that mean?
It probably means marshalling and telling everybody what to do and how to do it.
Maybe,
to do. And I'm the middle child. I'm trying to.
Wow,
be dead.
Those are some serious notes. Jeez.
Yeah. What was the story with the instrumental section of Space and Time? Because in that gig, the band stuffs it up. In the next gig we do, the band stuffs it up, and then
drop it from the list.
Well, here's the funny part: the third gig we do, we get it right. The fourth gig, we drop the song.
I don't even remember Space and Time. Have you got it recorded? You used to record all our sessions at your house.
I did, but I don't have any of those tapes. Space and Time was your song. I think you even wrote the lyrics for that song.
Is it? I remember this, yes. That was quite policey, jazzy type thing. I do remember it.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Policey, jazzy. Wow.
Well, I remember learning these new voicings on the guitar from learning one of the Extreme songs from Nuno, because he was great. And I found this really cool sound, because I've always liked open strings. In fact, I've always done things with arpeggios forever. And that's where that song came about. That was funny. I actually wrote that on Fisher Beach, I remember. I got home and I think I had a fight with Mandy and I fucked off back to the car with my guitar and went down to the beach and wrote that song. I think that's where that comes about.
Wow.
Ah,
Okay, space and time, eh? Jeez.
it's quite a. But you're right. I think we tried that song with John.
Yes, because there's actually a note of that being. I think that was the only song that we had finished with John.
Yes.
Yes, that was the one completed song, Space and Time.
Yeah.
That we had.
So then we organised. We had a few gigs with Dominic, and things were going good, even though he wasn't a bit of a strange guy. But then we wanted to go record. That's right. So I don't know how it came about, but we organised the recording thing with Paris, and we practiced like hell because we knew we only had a day, right? We could only afford a day, and then
we did 2 days in the studio.
2 days. Yeah, and I thought it was a day, and then the next day was vocals or something. Anyway, and for some reason we kicked Dominic out.
Well, there's actually from the time either Greg joined or Dom joined, and I don't know who joined first. I'm not certain. But the moment Greg met Dom, they did not get on.
That says a lot
okay.
because Greg gets on with everybody.
Everybody, yeah, I know.
No, exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
Greg wasn't fond of Dom, and
Okay.
and I don't know why, but it was. I remember that being, and I think. But what did Dom do to actually piss us all off? Because he must have irritated us all that we kicked him out.
Okay, so it just wasn't Greg then.
No, it wasn't Greg.
We all came to. I remember we all had a chat, and we decided that he was doing something to piss us off, and then we decided, no, we're going to go record anyway. I think we parted mutually or something. Maybe we didn't kick him out. I don't know. I remember it was going, and we were like, okay, fine, you go. We're going to go record. And then he pitched up Saturday morning.
At the recording,
We were like an hour into it, getting set up and all that. And I remember how awkward it was for Paris, because we were like, "Oh, what are you doing here?"
Yeah, he did sing on the stuff. Remember?
No, he definitely sang on the stuff because guess what? A couple of years later, remember I moved to Joburg and did some work up there before.
That's right.
And then came back to Cape Town. I actually ran into him in a shopping centre in Sandton, just by off chance.
Yeah.
And then long after that, like maybe a week or two, someone got hold of me, and I can't remember if it was you or Paris, but Dom was trying to get the original masterings of that recording from Paris.
I seem to recall Paris contacting me, but it might have actually been you telling me that Paris had contacted you. I can't remember.
Yeah, and I thought, that sneaky bastard, because we'd done our thing, and then everyone got on with their lives, and we went separate ways.
Yeah.
And I think Paris kept the recordings or something.
Yeah,
he must have, and I don't think we even thought about it too hard, really. It was quite funny how non-switched on we were about protecting our asset. Funny, eh?
Yes. But we recorded those. We recorded 4 songs initially, because it was Greg and I that went afterwards and did A Sense of Life.
That's right, because then I'd already gone and moved.
Yes.
And I think I was in Zanin or something, and you guys said you were going to do another song, and then you were going to use Chris from one of Greg's bands to sing it. I said, "Oh, sounds fine. Carry on. I can't do anything much about it anyway." Greg played, and then Greg had a band called Redondo Fish, I think.
Yeah, I remember Redondo Fish. Yep.
Yeah. So then you guys did that with Chris. Did you go back to Paris and do that at his studio again?
Yes, we did that at his studio, and I think at that point we had Chris already redone the other songs, the vocals on the other songs, or did we do it at that point?
I think you did it all at one point, because then you sent me a CD with everything on it.
Yes. Yeah.
Which I was blown away, because Sense of Life was such a cool song, so simple and clear and crisp.
So the question is, where are those recordings now?
Well, you must have them, Grant. Pass.
I don't have.
Oh.
I mean, I've got the CD and I've got the but I don't have the actual
the masters.
Tape.
Yeah.
The tapes, the masters.
Yeah. So then we've got C3, and now we are chatting about it. So I'm pretty sure the name C3, Grant, was me just being my usual jerky self, for saying, well, now there's just the 3 of us. Because it was just me, you, and Greg. I made some joke about if you came to see us, you'd see 3. you know. Don't know who's going to sing, but we hadn't thought that far ahead.
Yeah.
So who does sing?
Not me.
Hang on now. There's vocals in the recording from Ghosts of Eden. Who's singing that?
Oh, that's what's his name?
Chris.
Chris, yeah.
Okay.
What's his surname?
So
We'll have to get a hold of him and say we're doing this.
Yeah, there might be some sort of. Nah, you own it. You're quite safe. Don't worry. So, Ghosts of Eden, 6 tracks. I've listened to it. Is this now going to be a reoccurring thing? Release more music, or is it going to just like a one-off vibe? Or the power of the internet allows you to do this sort of thing from afar. You don't have to be in the same room anymore. You can just press a button and there you go.
Yes, you're right. It is easier and harder in the one sense. I think Rush made one of their albums like that, Grant. And that was way before any of this nonsense came along.
Yeah, well, they certainly demoed songs like that, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they used to do stuff and send it to each other, and
yeah.
So
how different is it doing it like this without actually being in a room and sweating it out, the chemistry vibe? How does that sort of like that? Does it change the feel of the music, or is it pretty much the same?
I don't know if you could. I don't know if you could do it live. I mean,
no, I'm talking about recording purposes.
Oh no.
Well, we've exchanged ideas over the years, Grant. We've never got much to it because I guess life gets in the way.
Yeah.
But that's not unusual for actually how things usually happen. Even with pro musicians, like I told you the other night, people record little bits and snippets and they keep it away and they go back years later and they dig it out and then they develop it and see where it goes. So to answer that question, Trev, it's all possible because Grant and I've always had good ideas and lots of ideas.
Yeah. Getting someone like Greg involved, or would it be like, program drums that sound like real drums, but, do you miss that sort of feel and sound?
I think with the electronic drumming nowadays, you could probably do it without a real drummer, but it's always good to get real musicians involved. Yeah. Even if the thing is, Greg, for instance, may not even play anymore or have access to a kit, or so there's those practicalities. So it might be called C2.
Yeah. or C0. I don't see anybody anymore.
Yeah.
So with let's say Greg's out of the picture, you can't get a kit, he's got his own business, everybody's got their own sort of lives. How do you see recording in the future for bands then? With this whole COVID, when will it end? What's the best way forward?
Well, Grant and I have been talking about a project that you wanted to do, Grant, which is more more poetry.
It's more sort of me speaking my ramblings over music, because I did 1 or 2 sort of experimental tracks a while ago, which are more sort of synth based, and I kind of liked what it sounds like. I mean, it's not rock music or anything. It was just fun to do,
Yeah.
And it kind of has like a dramatic sort of feel to it, etc., etc.
So, are you creating a new genre, or does that exist already?
There is stuff where people do.
It's not spoken word, is it? It's kind of like
because
poetry.
Actually, because I was actually sort of trying to figure out what it would be. I sort of looked up what spoken word was.
Yeah.
And that stuff is just not. No, it's not that.
Yeah. Poetry to music.
Yeah. Words to music.
Maybe we will. Maybe you've just stumbled on something, Grant.
Yeah, new genre.
You better patent that idea because there's a billion people who can't sing out there. But
hang on. No, there we go. I've just patented it.
Yeah. Damn it.
No, that sounds interesting.
So I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't mind doing something more as C3. I've got plenty of ideas, but it just depends how much time we can put into it, and that's kind of what.
At this point, everybody's got a lot of time on their hands.
Yeah. Well, no.
Yeah. Well,
I'm supposed to go back to work now.
I am back at work, but I'm quite lazy. So, like I was telling Grant, we were 4 weeks of lockdown, and my gear has been parked downstairs for the last year.
That's terrible.
And I set up like I made a trestle table, and I hung my guitars, and I pulled my amps in, and I set it all up, and I actually didn't hook anything. I didn't like physically plug anything in. And I always pick up the
Terrible.
guitar
Come on, man. You got.
And then,
I mean, you know.
and
you got
then
time to
2
do this
days
stuff.
before, they said, "Oh, you're gonna all go back to work next week." I thought, I think I'll plug the stuff in now, and I plugged it in, and I ended up playing for like 4 hours or something until my young daughter basically said, "Enough now."
Yeah.
Enough. The cats and everything are running away. So I think we could probably do something. I know quite a few good musos this side of the world. As you know, I live in the future in New Zealand now.
Yeah. You're ahead of everybody.
Yeah, so when the world ends, just call me. I'll let you know how it goes.
So I want to just talk just briefly about one of the tracks that I really enjoyed, the 7-minute 33-second track, "Reach Out." Now, I listened to the stuff that you guys sent to me, and "Reach Out" just instantly stood out to me. What is it about that song?
Grant wrote the words, and I think I came up with the riff, but that actually, sorry to jump in front of you, Grant, that's a real true collaboration between me, you, and Greg.
It is.
Because I think we wrote that without a singer, as
Yes,
just jamming.
Yes, we did. In fact, I remember writing, doing the instrumental section at your place, your folks' place.
Oh, in Fisher.
Yes.
Wow, I don't even remember that.
Yeah,
but it was very basic. It's all in E minor, basic.
Yeah. No, it's. I mean,
basic song.
Yeah. It's. I think it's as good as it is because of all the work we put into it. I mean, we put a lot of work into that specific song.
And no word of a lie, that is a one-take recording. I think Paris asked us to play it again, and we played it the same way.
Wow, okay.
And then he went like, fine, we'll just keep the first one. Because I think
what impressed him is we were doing the songs without a vocalist.
That's true. We did all the songs without a vocalist, and our timing, we knew them well enough that we could look at each other and say, right, next section starts now. Because none of us were counting in those days. I doubt Greg was counting.
Yeah.
Greg is very much a field drummer.
Very, yeah.
And my concentration doesn't last longer than 3 seconds, so there's no ways I was counting. Some of those songs, like Satellite, was with Liam.
Yes.
I think it was Better with Liam. That was with Liam and Wayne.
That's right, yeah.
And somehow when we recorded it, we seemed to rush it a bit. Even when I listen to it today, it's still it's a very basic rock track, but it just seems maybe the tempo is just a bit too quick because it seems to have lost the groove, you know. But Reach Out has got this groove that just keeps winding on. It's funny, eh?
Yeah.
It's outdoors. Riders in the
Storm. Yeah. I was just going to ask you, what year span was this recorded in? I mean, to finally get to the point where you're actually releasing it now.
Well, I guess we're releasing it in 2020. We should rename the album COVID-19. Boredom.
Or C19.
Look what I found maybe we should call it C19. Look what I found in my basement.
Yeah.
So we recorded that 93.
No ways.
94.
No ways.
When did we record it?
Try again. There's
96.
I've got 98, but I'm thinking 97. I've written down here 98. Recorded as C3 1998. But
I moved to
that long ago. Because it stands up really well.
So that date is probably Greg and I adding that other song.
Yes, because I was definitely up in the northern parts, realizing truly that we did live in an African state.
And it would actually make sense because our last gig with Dom was on, I can tell you. Well, I can tell you, was with Armed Populace. That was our last gig we did. The gig before that, and I seem to think that was in December or something of 96. Because there was a Friday the 29th of November 1996. We played Ruby in the Dust.
Yeah.
With Social Piranha.
That's right. We played with some pretty cool, iconic Cape Town bars.
Yeah, Ruby in the Dust. I remember that place.
Yeah. The Green Parrot.
The Green Parrot. Wow.
The place in the Green Point, what is that called? We played Lithium?
Somerset Tavern?
Somerset Tavern.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is the dream? You know, is it for C3 to be the next thing, or is it just a self-gratification to finally get it out after all these years?
I don't think there's any self-gratification, Trev. I think it's just this particularly song like Reach Out and maybe Rain and Sense of Life, I think are good enough and should be heard. And if people like it, that's great. If they don't, that doesn't
Fuck
matter.
them. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
But I mean, you've never heard those songs before, Trevor, and you've known me for 43 years.
Yeah, thereabouts. Yeah.
And so it must be a bit of a surprise because you'd probably only known me as a thrash metal guitar player.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've known you as
not a very good one either.
Well, fuck, she's talking about many years ago. We weren't exactly great at anything that we did back then, but we had fun, right? Wasn't that the whole point?
I do remember our very first gig done in the surf club in Bishop.
I wouldn't call that a gig. I just called it a complete fuck
if
up.
If we were Americans, we would have called that a show.
Yeah. We had all of 2,000 people. Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, the point is, so I think just get the songs out there. It's so cool that there's a platform that's so easy and relatively cheap. I know you've mentioned some of the cost, Trevor, but I mean, it's to get it up and out there compared to what if we would really try it back in, I'm going to guess now, Grant, late 97 or even 98 to try and take that to a publisher and say, publish our music and go and market it, that would have just said, who are you?
Yeah.
Nowadays, do you just talk to your mate and say, hey, let's do this? And
there it
is.
We are. There it is. There it's out in the world. So for all the people that are listening, Ghosts of Eden.
And then it's out there forever.
And it's out there forever. That's exactly it. Yeah, so the Ghosts of Eden is going to be released in 2020, hopefully real soon. That's it pretty much. So thanks for chatting, and I look forward to hearing the worded poetry to Davrin's music in the background, and listening to Ghosts of Eden, particularly Reach Out again. Cool guys, thanks very much, man.
Alrighty, thanks for the chat.
Alrighty, keep well.
Enjoy your breakfast.
Enjoy your dinner or your sleep. Yeah, in New Zealand time.
Sleep 10 to 9.
Alrighty, guys. Have a good one.
Cheers. Bye. Take care.